Action.
The Ulysse Nardin freak. Where do I begin with this watch? Well, let's start, like most things, with the name. You'd be forgiven for thinking that the freak is a nickname based on its absolutely crazy appearance. But in fact, this was a name that was picked by the former CEO of Ulysse Nardin, Rolf Schneider, I think specifically to announce something groundbreaking. It very suitably prepared people for a watch that looked like nothing else at the time. This was 2001 in Basel. This was the craziest watch of the 21st century, and in many ways it still is. But it's also one of the most influential. And that's because it is the very first watch to use silicon components in its escapement. Specifically, this is the very first prototype, meaning that of the thousands of watches that use silicon in their movements today, this was the first, number one, as so elegantly displayed on the case band, P001, the first prototype. And then at the back, by hand, the watchmaker who assembled this piece wrote the number one. The entire movement, including the carousel tourbillon, is the minute hand, which sits on a carriage and makes a full rotation every hour. The movement is powered by an enormous mainspring found at the back of the watch, which is manually wound to give the watch more than a week of power. More than a week of power. That alone makes this watch a freak. The freak does not have a crown. And in fact, it is the bezel and the case back that are used to set the time, but also to wind it. What else can I say about this watch? Well, it measures 44.5 millimeters in diameter. It's made in full gold. And then it is, without a doubt, one of the most unmistakable designs of the 21st century. I would argue that it was way ahead of its time when it came out, and it still is underappreciated. But I think if you're a collector that places importance on the engineering of a watch, on contemporary design, and frankly, on history, well, this watch has become something that is impossible to ignore.